The X5 you can buy today is not the same camera that launched, same hardware, but Insta360 has been quietly updating the software, and at some point along the way, it stopped being just a 360 camera. At this point, calling it a 360 camera feels like calling a Swiss Army knife a bottle opener. And honestly, it makes me wonder, if the X5 is already this good, what is Insta360 even going to add to the X6? Because if you look at what the X5 can already do today, it's essentially at least 4 cameras in one body: a 360 camera, a gimbal camera, a reframing camera, and even a street photography camera. And now, the latest update adds something new, a cinematic widescreen aspect ratio for video. The core idea behind the X5 is simple: shoot first, frame later. You capture the full 360 environment and choose your framing in post, so you can create completely different angles all from the same clip. The X5 uses larger sensors, improved dynamic range, and low light performance, so even after reframing and cropping into that spherical image, the result actually holds up. The quality is there. That matters because everything else the X5 can do builds on top of this foundation. And this is where InstaFrame 2.0 comes in. Instead of choosing between 360 mode or single lens mode, the X5 can record both simultaneously: a reframed flat video ready to post and a full 360 backup for more complex edits later. But InstaFrame 2.0 can do something else as well. Something that changes how the camera physically feels to use, and it's the reason the X5 has started showing up in workflows where you'd never expect a 360 camera. Inside InstaFrame 2.0, there's a virtual joystick. It lets you pan, tilt, and reframe your shot in real time while you're filming. You can add spinning moves, barrel rolls, or subject tracking, all directly in camera while you're shooting. And when you add the free-framing selfie stick, it goes even further. You get physical control over these movements. The wheel on the handle works almost like a real gimbal controller, allowing much smoother and more precise framing. So in practice, you're holding what looks like a selfie stick, but you're operating a virtual camera inside the 360 footage with physical, tactile control. And when you combine this with the latest firmware update, it starts to look like something you'd expect from a much more serious camera setup. The latest firmware adds a cinematic widescreen aspect ratio to video. It was already available for photos, but now it works for video as well. On paper, it sounds like a minor update, but in practice, it changes the feeling of your footage immediately. That wider frame stops your video from looking like typical action camera footage and starts making it feel like something shot on a traditional format camera. And when you combine this with gimbal-style movements, reframing, and 360 backup footage, you suddenly have a very flexible workflow coming from a camera that still fits in your pocket. Which brings me to the question I mentioned at the beginning. Because if the X5 can already do all of this, what does the next generation actually need to improve?
A larger sensor and even better low-light performance, real-time AI reframing at higher resolution, or completely new AI-driven shooting modes. At this point, the X5 already feels like a glimpse into where camera workflows might be heading. So I wanna know what you think. If Insta360 releases an X6, what would actually make you upgrade? What's the one thing the X5 still can do? Let me know in the comments. And if you wanna see how to use the latest features after the winter update, the next video is right here. And I've also tested all the new X5 accessories related to these features, so it's definitely worth checking out. If you're interested in more tutorials, creative techniques, and real-world workflows using 360 cameras in traditional filmmaking, consider subscribing, and I'll see you in the next video.